All right, let's get things kicking off here. Welcome everyone to another edition of Webinar Wednesday. It is great to be with everyone here today, and I see that we have a good crowd from around the world. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Jason here on the left, and we are always lucky to be joined by David Rockland, who is the digital strategist and so much more here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for taking the time to join us in the webinar today.
Hey, everybody. So glad to be back with you for another webinar, number 198. It looks like we should be hitting the big 200 right at the end of this month, April 30th, it looks like. So looking forward to that. But in the meantime, really looking forward to today's webinar. We got some great tips to share with you, some BD quick tips, as always, some updates.
Yeah, huge milestone. Webinar 200 should be in a few weeks in this month in April. So that is very exciting. For those of you joining on YouTube Live, thank you for joining the webinar. We always recommend subscribing to the Brilliant Directories YouTube channel. You can take a moment right now and head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube. We'll share that link in the comments now. And what you can do is click on the subscribe button. It's a great way to get notified as soon as the webinars are starting, the replays are available, tips of the week, feature tutorials, and more. And one of the benefits of streaming on YouTube Live is the replay video will be available immediately after this webinar, and we will post it in the Brilliant Directories Facebook group. We invite everyone to join us there as well. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook and click on the blue join button. Great place to ask questions, get help from fellow directory owners. I'm in there myself, answering questions, providing feedback, and we do invite everyone to join. As David mentioned earlier, we will be hitting webinar 200 very soon. And I think this month in April, we will be doing an iPad giveaway inside the Facebook group. All you need to do is be part of the Facebook group. You'll get notified as soon as the contest begins. That'll be in about a week or so. We'll post it there, and all you'll have to do is comment on the post to join the iPad giveaway competition or contest giveaway, I should say. So we certainly invite everyone to join us there, and we'll have a little fun with webinar 200, the iPad giveaway. It should be a really action-packed and fun April for everyone. And also, if you do have a Brilliant Directory site, which is probably why you're on this webinar, we do encourage you to download the Brilliant Directories app. It's a great way to stay connected with your BD sites while you're on the go. You can see new members who sign up, new revenue that your site's generated, and a little bit more. You could just go to your Apple or Google Play App Store and search for Brilliant Directories. And of course, it is free to download. And we do see some familiar names and faces and a few new ones joining us today. So welcome. Just a little bit about Webinar Wednesdays. Week after week, the Brilliant Directories team is pushing new updates and features into the platform. So what we like to do is in between, during those times when we have new updates to share, Webinar Wednesday is a great way to share some of the updates with you on how you can take actionable steps to help grow your community. So we'll cover topics such as features that can help you increase your traffic, convert visitors into free or paying members, new revenue opportunities you can take advantage of, and more. Also in Webinar Wednesdays, we like to do a Q&A session. So if you have technical questions about your site, strategic questions about running and operating a membership website, we'd love to cover all those topics here during the Q&A session. We should have plenty of time today. So if you need a little help with your site or have a question about the platform, please save your questions. You can type them in. We do star them and save them so we can address them a little bit in the webinar. So feel free to fire away and type them into the comments, and we'll organize them a bit later in the Q&A session. All right, and before we get to some of the quick tip updates for this webinar, we do have some lab updates to share. Not a huge list here, but some good quality of life updates here. I'll start with the one at the top here. This is when you're searching for members in the admin area. You could always search them by their ID number. Now you can actually search multiple members by using a comma-separated list of member ID numbers. This is really helpful if you need to create a smart list or apply a tag only to a select specific group of members that you need to identify in the admin with a search. I'll show you an example of how this works. If we go to the admin dashboard here and click on search members, this is our webinar demo site. And we can see here, the member ID 930, 929. So we could always search like this if we go, for example, 930. Perfect. And we found that member here. But now let's go back to search members. If I wanted to search, maybe 3 or 4 different members because they did some certain action on my site. If you came here, like let's say we wanted 930, we'll just do a few even numbers here. We could do the # hashtag 930, and then just put a comma 928, 926. I'll just do 3 of them there, and we can search there. And we could see 3 of those members were found for whatever specific reason. I need to identify these 3 members. And then from here, we could do a couple things. One is I could create a smart list from them and then market to them later, or at least have them segmented. One other thing I can do is apply a tag. So if I have a member tag that I want to apply to these 3, I just need to select them first here. I could just add a tag and choose one of the custom tags I have on my site and apply that to these 3 members. So pretty straightforward, comma separated list of the member ID numbers. Just start it with the hashtag in front there. All right, this next one is more related to security and more specifically to when you're embedding your website on another website using an iframe method. If you're not familiar with this, it is a little higher level. I'd say it's medium to advanced if you have the need to do this. But now what you can do is, for security reasons, by default, your site isn't allowed to be embedded on other sites because people could trick people into thinking that they're interacting with your site, but they're really on another website. So, but there are plenty of valid reasons why you'd want to do this. For example, if you have another website like a WordPress website and you want to render your search results on a page, you may do that with an iframe, and that's a totally valid reason to want to do this. So what you could do now for security reasons is actually whitelist the domains that you want to allow to be embedded via iframe on those other websites. Let me show you where that advanced setting is. If we go to settings in the sidebar and go to advanced settings, and I don't remember off the top of my head the exact name of that setting, but let me just search for whitelist. Here it is. So if you just search for whitelist here, it's this advanced setting here. Whitelist domains allowed to iframe this website. So you can have it set to all, so there's no restriction. Any website can iframe your domain, or you can do none. So no other websites can can embed your site via iframe on their websites. Or you could do specific domain names, and you would just do a comma separated list, just like this. So it could be your WordPress site, it could be a third-party site, whatever it may be. But this way you have a bit more control over who's allowed to and how you can iframe and embed your site on other websites. All right, more language updates. The last year we've added many languages. I think there's 34 total now that you can start your website in on the front end. Finnish is the newest one added. There was a few people asking for Finnish, so now that has been added. And I think with the 34, that gives a good, I know there's a lot more languages out there, but a good 85-90% coverage of the languages you might want to start your site with on the front end. Let me actually show you an example of what that looks like if you're not familiar with it. I won't take up too much time with this because we've covered it before, but if you're not familiar with it or you're starting a new site, you can start a site in a language of your choice. There's only a couple things that you need to edit after you set the language, which is basically the main menu and the names of the post types like coupons and events. So actually in this example, we're set to English, of course. Let's go ahead and change it to Finnish, since that's the most recent language updated. And again, you probably just need to do this once when you're first setting up your site. But you don't need to come back and do this multiple times because you're going to change really the focus of the market that you're after. So we'll set to Finnish, and this is the checkbox here, the magic one that says use that language for the text labels and the email templates. Great. And if we just refresh here, again, besides the main menu and the post type names, we should see basically everything translated into that newer language. And we can see here, if you can't read what it says here, then it is working. So that is great. Okay, we will switch this back to English. All right, and breezing through these, small little update here a while ago as well. You're probably all familiar with it. You can select stock photos in the media manager or when you're choosing a hero image and other places like that. You can now select stock images in the private member chat replies. So the one-on-one chats that your members might be having with each other, you can enable for stock images to work with those chat replies. So if they want to include something, it works with that Giphy. So if they want to put some funny animated meme in there, that is probably the best use case for that. And then the two more listed here related to WordPress. Since the beginning of this year, we have 4 WordPress plugins queued up. One of them has been released. The first one was syncing your WooCommerce. If you're using the WooCommerce plugin for WordPress, syncing your customer data and sending it and porting it over to your Brilliant Directory site. That is released. You can just Google WooCommerce, Brilliant Directories, and find that. There's 2 more coming down the line for April and May. In May, so about 2 months away, there are very common WordPress forms, Contact Form 7, Ninja Forms, WordPress Forms, and a few more. There's 4 of them that this is going to work with. Basically, any of those form plugins that you're using with WordPress, you'll be able to send the form submissions to your Brilliant Directory site. So this is great if you're using WordPress for landing pages and you're using one of those form plugins. Maybe you are using it to capture leads. You can then send that to your Brilliant Directory site and use your WordPress site as a tool to add the leads that your members would purchase to your Brilliant Directory site. Another way is for members to join your site from your WordPress site. They can register and create an account, and there's a few more use cases as well. So that's coming out in May with the WordPress forms. And this next one, exporting your WordPress posts. So if you're migrating from WordPress to Brilliant Directories, this will just make it easier. You can easily migrate your WordPress blog posts to Brilliant Directories. I actually have a sneak peek of what that will look like. That is just on the cusp of ending its development. So we have, this is not yet released, but this is the test site that we have it on. So you'll have a sidebar link in your WordPress that says Brilliant Directories. It'll be the post export. All you do is put your API information in from your Brilliant Directory site. There's a link here if you don't know how to do that. And you can do automated syncs to send your WordPress blog post to your Brilliant Directory site. But my favorite part here is under the create post settings. This is mapping the posts. So you can choose who the author will be when you migrate these posts. Generally, it'll be the admin of the site. The post type that will be associated with the migration. So if it's not blog articles, it could be something else. And then you can choose if you want the publish date for the WordPress publish date, the feature image, and a few other pieces of post attributes to be sent along with that. And again, this should be released probably mid-April, and we're super excited about this one. And of course, there are tons more updates on the way. Big shout out to the Brilliant Directories community. Majority of these updates are from your suggestions or things you find or mention to our support team. So we always invite you to email our support team. There's no such thing as a bad question or bringing something up. We use it all in a constructive way to make the platform better for everyone. So we certainly invite you to continue to communicate with our team. And with that, we have some great BD quick tips here. If it's all right with you, David, I'll pass over the reins and you can take us through this week's quick tips.
Yes, we got a few more quick tips for this webinar. For this time around, we wanted to pick a few features and settings kind of based around some common questions that we get asked here. Most often, more from newer users of the BD platform, but nonetheless, still somewhat common questions that we get asked. So we wanted to highlight a few features regarding those. So diving right on into the first one, refresh live site. You shouldn't need to use this too often, but you may have noticed in a couple different places actually within the admin area, you might see a refresh live site button. I believe there's also a link in the dashboard menu item on the left-hand side of the admin area. But what this allows you to do is immediately apply any changes that you're not seeing on your website to your website, basically by doing a hard refresh on the website's cache. Again, you shouldn't really ever need to use this, but if you're making a lot of changes or updates to your website in quick succession, or if for whatever reason you're just not seeing some of the updates that you're making to your website immediately apply, you can click that refresh live site button, and all that does is refresh the website's cache so that you should immediately see those updates. So like I mentioned, it's really simple. There's a button right at the top of the admin area when you're editing your website. You can click that button. Once you click that, you'll get a pop-up. You'll see that the website's cache has been refreshed. And then you can visit the front end of the site again, refresh it, and you should see whatever changes you made take immediate effect. So really, this is best used to just instantly apply those recent changes without waiting. Again, you shouldn't ever need to wait, but in some rare instances, maybe some things are lagging a little bit behind. You can click that button to immediately see those changes. This can also help to ensure that your visitors see the most up-to-date content. Again, if you're making a lot of updates in quick succession, maybe things will start to lag a little bit behind in applying those updates. So you can click that button to just immediately apply everything. And then also, if you are making any updates, like I mentioned, and you're just not seeing those updates take effect on the front end of the site, or maybe it's taking, a few seconds longer than it should, you don't want to, wait around those extra few seconds. You can just click that refresh live site button. And again, that should immediately apply those changes. So you shouldn't ever really need to use this, but it's a great option to have if for whatever reason you're seeing some updates not take immediate effect.
Yeah, and just to that point, if you're a developer or designer, and if you're making changes in the database, instead of using the normal way users are saving changes in the admin, you're going directly to the database. This will be actually critical, clicking the refresh live site so that your database changes are reflected on the front end of your site. This is a safe button to click if you're seeing it in the admin, so you don't have to click it with feeling hesitant or reluctant about it. You can click it, let it do what it needs to do. But as David said, for most users, you don't need to use it, but it is there in case you're not seeing any changes right away.
And this next one here, a really overlooked option here in the admin area, and a very useful one. So you can actually assign any members on your site manually to any membership plan. So this is really great when either want to move members from one membership plan to another, or if you want to upgrade a member to a paid plan, but you don't want them to have to pay for that premium paid plan, you can just change their membership plan over to that premium one and they don't have to pay. So it's really simple, really easy to do. It's in the quick edit options when you're editing an individual member. So you go to the My Members section in the admin area, you find the individual member you're looking for, you go to that actions drop down that you see for every member, then you go to quick edit. And then right in quick edit, the second option is for their membership plan, and you'll get a drop down with all of the membership plans that you have on your website. So you can select the new membership plan that you want to move that member into. And again, you can move them into free plans, into paid plans. Again, if you want to upgrade a member to a paid plan, give them whatever features you have in that premium plan without them having to actually pay for it. This is a super easy way to do that. And optionally, if you did actually want the member to pay the membership fee that you have set up for a paid plan, if that's the type of plan that you're moving them into, after you do this, you can then just quickly start a paid subscription for the member. And we'll show you how to do that in just a second here. But so overall, this is a great, easy way, very easy, very fast way to upgrade or downgrade members without having to process a payment. Again, you can if you want, it just takes one extra step, but this is a great way to give individual members access to those paid features that you might have in some of your premium membership plans at no cost, if that's what you want to do. And also, if you're doing some testing, maybe you're having some promotional periods where you're giving members, free access to your paid plans. For whatever reason, you need to make a manual adjustment, maybe a one-time courtesy for an individual member, things like that. This is a great way to do all those things. Again, you just go to Actions, Quick Edit, and right in there, you can change any individual member's membership plan.
And also the reason we wanted to actually include this one is we see it quite often. This question is asked in the Facebook group. I have a member, I want to make them a premium member, but I don't want to have to force them to pay to be a premium member. It seems obvious, but if you're new to the platform, it might not be so obvious. So let's actually follow David's steps here. And let's go to the My Members section under Search Members actually here. And I'll show you two things you can do. And also to David's point, let's remember that the membership plan that they're subscribed to, especially if we're doing manual things in the admin area, because we are the captain of the ship when we're in the admin area here. So we can set members to whatever plan we want them to be, but without forcing them to pay. But also, if we want to start that paid subscription, we would do that separately as well. So let's actually do a couple things here. Let's take a look at like this member here. This is the quick edit link that David is referring to here. There's lots of good stuff in the quick edit pop-up here. So one is you can actually set their account status. This is active. Maybe you want to put them on hold or canceled or one of these 4 or 5 options here. But here you can change their membership plan. And when you do this, they will be that higher or lower tiered membership plan than you set them to, and they'll have all the privileges or restrictions that you've created for this membership plan. So currently, this person is membership plan 1. Let's say we want to make a membership plan 3. By saving the changes here, they will automatically be changed to membership plan 3. No subscription or payment has been made for them, and now we've made that change for them. So let's just save the changes there. Now, let's say we wanted to give that to them, but we talked to them on the phone. They had a customer service issue, and we told them that we'll make them a membership plan 3. We'll do it for half the price, whatever the case may be. What we want to do in that case, if we want to start a paid subscription for this user, now that they are membership plan 3, we can click on their name. Actually, in the payments, the actions drop down, we can go to payment history also. That's 2 things we can do. Probably better to do that one. Under the payment history, so this person doesn't have payment history, we can do 2 things. One is we can add a credit card on file for them. If we're on the phone with them or they don't have a card on file, we can do that as the admin. Again, we're the captain of this ship. We have the ability to do that. Let's say this user did have a card on file. We would just click on new order. And new order also means, creating a new subscription for them. So here's the example where these are all our paid subscriptions. So currently on this site, only membership plan 2 is a paid subscription. Let's pretend we assign them this membership plan 2. This is generally $10 per month or $100 annually. So I can choose the billing cycle I want from the membership plan settings. But this is the cool thing. So let's say we told them that we would give them, half price for this. So what we can do is we can do a price override, and this will be $5 per month moving forward. And also we can actually choose to start the subscription in the future. So actually, let's say we wanted to give them April for free. We can actually start billing them on May 1st. We can leave some notes here. Member was upset. We're offering, whatever it might be. And you'll see these notes later. And then you just create the order. We can see this member doesn't have a card on file. We're being prompted to add a card on file, but just to show you that you can then start that subscription for them. And one more thing about this, which is worth noting, also, if you wanted to highlight a group of members from the search options here, maybe you did a filter, you can actually do a bulk change plan here. Let me see where that is among the list here. Change membership plan. There we go, membership plan. And you can hit apply, and then you can choose, just like we did in the quick edit, is change in bulk their membership plan here. Again, it won't start or stop a paid subscription. So if you're doing this, just be mindful of that. But you can change everyone here as needed. So again, pretty straightforward, but sometimes it's overlooked, and it's always worth reminding ourselves about these little features available.
Great stuff. I think being able to manually create those orders straight from the admin area is definitely one of the more overlooked features that we have. Going into the last one here, again, maybe something that might be a little more obvious to some of our more experienced users, but for some of our newer users, might be something that might not be so obvious, is adding a custom form to any page on your website. So you can create a custom form, put in whatever fields you want in that form, and then you can add that form onto any page. For example, maybe you're building a landing page and you want a specific form for that specific landing page. You're asking the visitor for some specific information, so you're creating some new fields in that form. You can then copy that form's short code and just paste it onto the web page. So you edit the web page, you paste in that short code wherever you want the form to appear, and then you save the changes, and the form will then immediately be displayed and functional on that specific page. So it's a really simple process. You just go to Toolbox, Form Manager, you create your new form, and then once you create and save the form, you'll get a short code. So you just click the copy short code button, and then you can paste that short code into whatever page you want it to appear on. So this is a great way to collect some custom information from visitors or members of your site. You can easily add, contact forms. There, by default, you do have the contact page, you have the get matched lead page, but you can create some custom forms, some surveys, some custom lead capture forms. You can add those to any page. This is a really great thing to keep in mind if you want to set up some specific and custom landing pages on your site. But overall, you don't have to do any coding. It's really simple. You just create the form, edit the fields, and then copy and paste the short code.
Yeah, I think one of the highest value things of this is Brilliant Directories is an all-in-one platform, and there are definitely other platforms where you can create forms, embed forms. Some are fancier than others. Also landing page builders, but you can also do all of that pretty much with Brilliant Directories. And let's actually show you a simple example of how this works. Again, most of you probably know how to do this, but always a good reminder, especially for newer users who just started with the platform. So let's actually just start from the dashboard area. So we'll start from zero, basically. So let's first create a form. We'll go to Toolbox and Form Manager. And from here, I was playing around. I created a new form for the webinar here, but we'll just do this here. We'll click New Form, and we'll give it a nickname, New Form Webinar. And I'll just put the number 2 there since I have one like that. And we'll save, and continue. Now, the good part is when you create a new form, it starts you off with kind of the basic stuff that you probably want in a form, such as collecting their name, email, phone, and an enter message box. So almost like a contact us form. However, you can modify any of this. You could say, for example, enter first name. You can do that, and then you can add a field, and we can say enter last name. So kind of just changing things a bit here. So instead of just an enter name field, we can have 2, and let's save the changes just to add that one change there. Okay, great. So now we have, what I like here is the form preview. It kind of shows us the changes as we're making them. So we see enter first name, enter last name, and so on. I'll just leave it at that for now. There's obviously more we can do to a form. And that's basically it for the form. What we want to do is click this copy shortcode button, and that copies it to the clipboard. I'll put it here. It says form equals new form webinar 2. That's like the system name, but that's the shortcode for it. We don't really need to know what it is. We just have to click this button for the form we want. And now let's head on over to the web page builder. And let's say we want to create a landing page. We're doing a contest giveaway. People have to fill out this form to enter, and so on and so forth. So let's create a new web page here. Again, I'm going to keep this really simple because we're just showing how to embed the form. We can give the page a name. We'll call it Contest 1. And in this example, I'll just drag one of the content blocks we have here. And instead of an image, I'll delete this image. I'll just paste that shortcode that we have. So that form equals and the system name for that form. I'll just do that and save the changes.
And I think it's important to mention when you're pasting the shortcode, you don't have to go into the code view or anything. You can just stay right in the visual editor here, just like you're typing in some text, and you can just paste the shortcode right there like that.
Exactly. That's all I did. I just did a Control V right there. So let's view this page. It's a good tip there. And there we go. So obviously we could change the default text that came with that content block. We've added enter first name, enter last name. Let's actually fill this out together. I'll do Jason, we'll do Halusam, we'll do JJ at jj.com. Show you guys an even cooler thing because, again, when a lot of these form tools like Typeset or Jotform, it's hard to access your data after the form submission. Even with some of these WordPress plugins, they've gotten a lot better. But with BD, it's all kind of built in. So let's actually fill out this form and see where it goes. Well, first, where it's going to go is the admin of the site is going to get emailed that this form got filled out. So this is very simple for the user. Our landing page is created, but where we want to go is in the forms inbox here. This catches all the inquiries or submissions from these forms that we've put around our site. And we can see here, this is from that contest 1 page. We could see the source where the form was filled out. We could see the email, jj@jj.com. What's even cooler is you can filter by the form. So if you just have a contest form, you want to see all the submissions from that contest form, just filter for the form name here. So there we go. So obviously there's just one submission, the one we just did. And what's really cool is you can also look at the full inquiry here. So as the admin, you can see what was filled out, the the first name, last name, phone number, etc. And even better is you can export the results, or you can create a smart list. So again, if you're doing a contest, we'll just stick with that example. You can make a smart list of everyone who filled out this form and then send them a follow-up email via a newsletter if you needed or wanted to. So it really comes full circle. Create the form, put it on a page, catch the submissions here, and then you can do further marketing to them after that. And again, that's all built into the BD platform there. Anything else to mention about this, David?
I think that covers it.
Yeah, we didn't want to get too in depth, but I think that's a solid overview right there. Thank you for that. All right, guys, as mentioned, we have plenty of time for Q&A. So please type in your questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. If you do want us to unmute your microphone, let me put this fun little banner we have here. If you want us to unmute your microphone with this new webinar platform, you have to just go to brilliantdirectories.com/stream. And then just type into the comments question, all caps. That'll indicate to us that you want us to unmute your microphone. We'll invite you to the stage, is what we call it here, and we could bring you on for a verbal question asking. But until then, what we'll do is we have some starred comments here, and we'll just start off with Hemel from the top here. Hemel's asking, how can I segment when I have multiple language audience? For example, Spanish audience always see my site in Spanish. So if you have audiences from around the world, the easiest thing to do is use the Google Translate tool. That will allow the user to toggle the site in the language of their choice. And actually, I think for the most part, it caches it unless they close the tool. So the next time they come back to the site, it will remember that they had the Google Translate on and in which language. And of course, they can X and close that Google Translate toolbar if they needed to. There's never a silver bullet with this. There are other tools, and it gets even more complex when we're talking about how languages are saved in the databases and having different versions of that. But again, I would think that Google Translate tool, you can search the BD add-ons for that, would be your best bet. Probably does a good 70 to 80% job for this. And then again, based on demand and feedback from your users, you can choose how much more time and energy and resources you would want to invest in further multi-language support for your site. So good question there. All right, let's keep things flowing here. Michael from Boston has a question. For sites that are currently on a subdomain who have WordPress as their main domain, is there a plan to port over the directory from directory.domain to domain.directory? And yeah, so that is actually the fourth plugin we're looking to create. And what that's going to do is your BD site is still going to exist, but you're going to be able to choose to load it on your root domain, your main domain, in what's called a subfolder. That's what your /directory is there. And it's not just going to be an iframe. It's your BD homepage is going to be that /directory, as you've mentioned there. And then all the subsequent pages will still exist. So you'll get all the SEO value from that. If your subdomain is currently ranking and traffic, I would be wary with that migration just to make sure you have redirects set up to the subfolder, their corresponding subfolder pages. So these are all existing domains. I always say tread carefully before turning something off, especially if we have good traffic coming in. But we have an internal goal here to have that WordPress plugin available by June, July of this year. So just a few months away. Talking time is going to go by quickly. And once that's available, Michael will definitely be shouting it from the rooftops because I think it's going to be a great plugin and tool for everyone out there. So thanks for asking that question.
We do have Brad here with a question.
So I have a couple really quick ones. First one is, if you share a redirected URL on social media, like the links are broken just because your redirects don't support wildcard values. And so like Facebook always puts those like URL parameters on there. So we had a problem with this because like the use case is like when we did blog posts, we changed the URL to like get rid of like the user name in the URL. And so just wanted to like mention that. Do you think that's something that could ever get updated?
So if the page was shared, because they have a delinter, right? The debugger, where you can refresh the cache of a page. If you're speaking specifically about Facebook, it's been really finicky lately. I'm assuming you've first of all, added them to your robots.txt for the site.
No, well, we like when you go in and like you have like a blog post or whatever, and you like use the built-in BD functionality of like change URL, it like automatically puts a redirect into the BD backend into the redirect section. And so like when that happens, that's when that redirected URL doesn't work on Facebook, because pretty much it goes in. I think you guys do it via HT access. And so it goes through, and since there's no wildcard, it's broken because it puts in like question mark Facebook FB ID and all that stuff. So is that making sense?
Yeah, because I've experienced it myself. David and I have experienced it, sharing pages that were redirecting to new pages. The redirects do work from our testing. We've just had to use the debugger to break their cache of the old, any old. Yeah, because they're not fetching like the new direction sometimes. Let me share this with you.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, I can look into it more. I had put in a support ticket, and they, but I know what you're talking about, the Facebook debugger, but that's probably good for everyone else too.
Yeah, Facebook is really bad at like catching new changes for, they're lazy on it because they don't want to use their resources for it. I put a link to it in the comments here. And what we've realized is doing that, or again, if you're sharing something, and sometimes we add a parameter like $1, so it thinks it's fetching a new page, but it's actually fetching the page again. So we have to kind of trick it to kind of encourage it to want to scrape the new redirect or the new updates to the page and things like that.
Okay, I'll give that a try.
What's your other question?
So the other one is there any chance we could ever, like in the search backend, ever get a chance to search by like the website URL field? Because I mean, that would be a great way to find like businesses that have like multi locations. And I mean, there's a lot of other use cases for it as well. And then just one other really quick one, just do you have any more plans for additional API endpoints or expanding those functionality? Because we're big fans of all that.
Yeah. Well, to your question first, I do like the idea of search by website field.
Yeah, or domain name, because a lot of you need the
partial match basically.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. I'm with you there. That's a good one. And then with regard to the API, I would encourage emailing the support team and asking if something exists or making the recommendations. We are actively always making new additions to them, either expanding the existing endpoints, or we've recently created a few new endpoints as well with widgets. And I think with post types. But yeah, we're all about the API stuff as well, because we see more and more developers expanding and using that.
Yeah, I actually have a ticket in about updating the widgets via API, which was great. We ran in and we found like a little glitch there, but they're on it. And then, but suggestion, adding redirects via API, that'd be awesome. So
I think that's a great one. Yeah, they just recently added like adding to the unsubscribe list. So redirects would be really good, actually.
Okay.
So thank you for that suggestion.
Well, that's all. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. Good stuff there from Brad. Okay, let's see here. We got a question from Nicola. Can this be embedded into Squarespace, or is it only available for WordPress? So with an iframe, Nicola, I don't know if you know the technical method for that, but you can iframe your site on third-party websites. And that was actually one of the lab updates today. I'll just go back a little bit, where you can whitelist your domain to be embedded via iframe on other websites. And I do believe Squarespace and Wix and these other, just these simple website builder tools, they do allow for iframes to be embedded. That's how YouTube videos are embedded on sites. So that should work. With regards to the subfolder hosting, we haven't explored Squarespace. Yes, we're going to start with WordPress and then see what the next most in-demand platform there would be to create. That would either one support that, allow us to create a plugin for it, and then also the demand for it to be there. But good question there. Can't pronounce this name. Bernade, welcome to the webinar. Newbie here. I'm exploring the dashboard. Is there email that automatically comes with BD, or do I need to add my new Google Workspace email? I had to do the domain first. So with BD, actually, the email comes with it. Let me show you what you can do. If you go to emails and go to email accounts, you need to connect your domain to it first. You need to change it from the directory up URL. Let me actually go to site, and I'll show you exactly what to do. Just give me one moment here. And yeah, once you connect your domain via name server, or if you're doing a record, you might have to just point something extra. There's instructions for it. So let me show you here now. If you go to emails and email accounts, so this site, this holistichealthfinder.com, you can then click add or edit email addresses. And let me hide the comment here. Okay. And from here, you can create a new email address for your domain. So you just hit create. You can do JSON, add your domain name. You can give it a password, and you just hit create. And then when you do that, also, there are instructions for connecting devices. If you want to connect it to your Gmail or your Outlook, there's just step-by-step instructions on how you can do that further. You put your username, the password you created, and then the information for hooking it up. And that's how you can then get the email in your Gmail or Yahoo or whatever you're using for where you check your emails. And then you can also send emails from there as well. So the short answer to your question there is a yes. Okay, good stuff. Bernard is saying yes in the comments. Okay, good to see you there. Let's see here from Sean. In the current BD model, locations begin at the state level. Can we implement a drop-down or hierarchical can't say that view? It's a tongue twister for me. View that displays counties within states and cities for each county. So yeah, with BD, there is a limitation. It has countries, states, and cities. It skips over the counties. We have seen some people do customization for counties as well. However, the search that people do on the site, let's actually go to the sample site here. It is smart enough, and I know why you want that for SEO purposes. Users aren't really selecting anything from a drop-down for location. They're typing in the location that they want. And you can see they can even type in Los Angeles County as an example. The old, like a few decades ago, you would kind of drill down, United States, California, county to do your search. But users now, because this is connected to Google Maps, they can basically put in anything. They could put landmarks, and then it knows the coordinates of that, the longitude and latitude of that. And then it finds members of your site that are within the radius that you've set for your site within the based on that location. So there isn't anything right now for county drop downs or under the hierarchy for that, but users can select this here. I will show you one thing though. If you go to browse by locations, we can see here, as an example, we have country and then state, and country and province, we'll say. But you can choose to do, instead of doing the country and the state, you can do the state and the city. And I'll show you an example of where you can set that. Let's do it for Australia, and that will have that will display more granular locations here. I've seen a lot of people in the United Kingdom do it this way. So let me just hide your comment here, Sean. And let me show you the advanced setting for this. Again, I got to think of it from the top of my head. I'm going to search for country. And this one is, let's see, which one? Countries to display cities instead of states. So you just got to put the 2-digit country code. I'll put AU for Australia. I know that one off the top of my head. And again, you're just going to do this for your site probably one time, but let's refresh this page here. And we saw Melbourne there. And this site's using a different widget. It's a bad example right there. It'll build up in suspense. But let me just see if I can fix that real quick. But what that would do is it would show the hierarchy of the state and the cities as opposed to the country and the states on this page here. Yeah, there's just an issue on this. Was a wrong site to show the example on. However, this is what it would be. Countries to display cities instead of states. I'll put this in the chat here, and that might help you a bit with the hierarchy there, Sean. Okay, put that in the chat there. All right, Nicole is also asking, are there any templates that can be purchased and added to my directory? There are a few things I would love implemented. That would be a great place to go to the BD marketplace if you want to do, modify some of the default templates beyond what's available in the design settings. I'll put a link for that here, actually. And there's some really talented experts in the BD marketplace. You can also search on Upwork and Fiverr. And just a tip when working with any designer or developer or anyone who's making small changes, start with a small project or scope. Instead of going all in with a 30-page PDF on something you'd like completed, and see that you get along with the person, communication is good before you make any big investments and go down that rabbit hole with that person, that journey with that person. Start small and establish a good rapport with each other, and then you can move on to bigger projects. That's kind of what I've learned is the best way when working with a newer person, especially a designer or developer.
Actually, I think that question is a great segue into another question from Daniel, who is asking about admin role permissions. I'll put that up on the screen here.
Perfect. I think we covered this, David, in last week's quick tips related to admin roles. So Daniel's asking, when creating a role, there are a lot of checkbox options. I'll show you guys what he's referring to. What boxes would you recommend clicking for a role that allows someone to do nothing other than create claim listings? So that one's a little bit of a mixed question, because in order to create claim listings, they need to have access to the members, the search members page. So let's actually take a look at the roles there, Daniel. Now, if they're manually creating the create claim list, the claim listings, you could just have them go from the front end of the site or like a secret page that you create and start creating those profiles. That would be kind of a direct way to do it. Let me get back to my webinar demo site, and then we can take a look at this together. We can take a look at the admin roles and what's available and possible there. What Daniel is asking or suggesting is he would like someone to only be able to create claim listings. So if you created if you've assigned a staff member to come to your site, the one thing you could do is just assign them to search members. And I think you can just have them add new member. I don't think you can choose what plans would be available here. They would choose the claim listing plan, but I think we can restrict them to just search members and then just add new member. Let's take a look together. Here we would go to admin accounts and admin role settings. And let's actually add a new admin role, a custom one. We'll call it only create members. Do that as an example. So in this case, Daniel, and let me hide your comment so it's easier to see what I'm doing here. Yeah, we should add, so you can do search members. You can not have them do actions. So the actions would be that the actions drop down. Let's take a look at that together, actually, what that was. That might be what you want, actually. So just don't check the actions or the bulk actions. And I think that would still give them access to do add a new member. We should have this as an option here, and also these list actions here. However, add them to search members, but do not check search members actions and search members bulk actions. That will at least limit what they can do to only coming to this page, and that should allow them to click on the green add new member button. They will be able to see the other members here, but they won't be able to do any actions or any bulk actions. So they wouldn't be able to change members information after.
Or another option might be to only give them access to import members if they're comfortable adding that information into a CSV file.
Absolutely. That's an even better one. You can just give them the import and they can just add the members via the CSV files that they create. They can do it in bulk in that case, as opposed to doing it one by one. Great suggestion there, David. So yeah, those two. So just import members, again, that'll be with a CSV file, or search members. Then they're just going to click that green button for each individual claim listing that they're adding. All right, let's see. We've got Alex here. Alex is asking, will the tagging feature we see on the admin side be made available for the public side with respect to using it for search queries? As of right now, that's just a tool for you and the admin to segment your members, similar to how you would do it in MailChimp or an emailing platform. It's really for the segmenting of the admin area. If you're looking to search for members from other criteria on the front end, you may want to opt for assigning them to subcategories and using those as a tagging system. Or what you can do is you can create a checkbox field that only the admin sees, and you can checkbox certain members by logging in as them and then setting them to those attributes. But I will take your suggestion in mind. As of right now, it was more for the emailing, but thinking about your question more, I can see how that could be helpful on the front end as well. I will say this, if it's critical or you need it for your site, you can go to the marketplace. The data is available in the database. So a marketplace developer would just connect the dots and allow you to have that available to search on your front end. So it's not impossible. There's just nothing default for it right now. Okay, Francis is asking how. This is the number one question we get in the Facebook group. How can I edit categories? Category 1, 2, and 3. Francis, I'm assuming you're referring to the post types. And let's actually look at a couple things. Let's go to the demo Bootstrap website. And again, this is the demo site. So when we want to show an example of like job listings, let's actually go here. You can see that the categories are category 1, 2, and 3, which really aren't real categories. They're just filler text. You can change all the categories for your different post types, Francis. Let me show you where you can do that. Let's go to under My Content in the sidebar here, Francis. You can go to Edit Post Settings. And these are all the post types for your site. Website blog articles, coupons. I always think of each one of these as like a channel of content for your site. So it's good for SEO, and it's really easy to keep things managed and assign who has the privilege to publish certain types of content on your site. But let's come to the community articles. It doesn't matter which one. So all the BD sites start with that category 1, 2, and 3 that like we're seeing here. But you can just wipe those out, and you can do news, events, jobs, whatever you want the categories to be, tech, and so on. Just create a comma separated list here and save your changes. And that should be it. If we go to articles here now on the front end of the site, we can see the new categories: news, events, jobs, tech. And when you create new categories, those would be the category options available there. You can see there was an empty space there. I ended with a comma here, so I'm just going to remove that. But yeah, that's how you can do it. Any of the post types, and just edit the post categories, comma separated list there. All right, Adam is asking, is there a way to download a list of all the QR codes that are made for the members? So it's a good question there. The QR codes, Adam, are made on the fly with a JavaScript code. So it basically gets the URL of the member's profile page, and then it spins up a QR code for that. So, and again, you can use different QR code generators. So there isn't anything to download with regard to what the QR code what the image looks like. However, let's actually do something. Free QR code builder, multiple URLs. Let's see. I'm just looking for something that's like a free QR code builder or maker, and where you can put multiple URLs, and it'll just give you QR codes for all the URLs that you created. So you might want to look for something like this and see if you can do it en masse or in bulk. But generally, the QR codes for the members are just made on the fly for them. Now that you're asking about it, I'm a bit more curious. So let's take a look together. And let me see here as we log in here. Yeah, so this is the QR code that he's referring to. Let me hide the comment here. And yeah, these are again, these QR code makers, they're just powered by the URL, the profile page of the site in this case. And then the image is technically a file name. So let's open image in new tab. And this is it. See, this is coming from this website here. They're kind of creating it on the fly. I wonder if you take this URL here and just change it. Let's just put like, if it just creates a new QR code. I think it did. I'm not sure. But anyways, you should Google QR code makers and see what you can do in bulk when you have all the profile images there. So I know not the ideal answer you're looking for, but hopefully provides you with some direction. All right, Michael from Boston again. I'm working with the multi-member manager add-on to add the ability for members to add users and locations, which is great. One great enhancement to this would be the ability to charge per user or location. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it was greenlit and I think it went on the back burner. I'm going to check with the team. It's a basically pay per post logic for the sub accounts or the multi-member manager. I'm gonna go check where that is. I think it got on the back burner, but it was greenlit and it just got pushed down the queue instead of higher up on the queue. So I'll check that out for you. Good suggestion there. We've talked about it before, so I'll check up with you. Maybe we have some news in forthcoming webinars. All right, lots of questions being typed in. Thank you guys for this. Let's see here. All right, Daniel's got a good question here. He said, is there a way to make banner ads targeted? For example, let's say the member who places the banner ad only serves LA. Can I set his or her ad to only show up when people look at listings in LA? Is there a targeting ability? And if so, what and how? So the BD banner ads are super simple. There isn't necessarily targeting. I did see a partner plugin. Let's actually go there together and I'll show you something else you can do on your BD site as well. I just want to go to the marketplace real quick and search the plugins for ad because I did see something for this. David, do you recall? I think it was from here it is, Banner Ads Manager plugin from Treehouse. Is this Treehouse? Yeah. This was it. This might be what you're looking for. They've created a plugin. You can choose the banner ad, and I think you can choose the pages or locations where the ad would show. So add tags or keyword span to determine what pages they should display on. And there's click tracking, impression tracking. It's more robust, and there's also other third-party tools as well that you can use, like Ad Butler. And so forth. But these guys have made one specifically. There's a video here to watch as well. Daniel, I'm going to share this one with you. But just to kind of show you something else that you can do on the BD site is, for example, if you do a search for Los Angeles, let's just do that together here as this example. So what you can do, if we can turn this into a static page here for Los Angeles. So what we would do, we covered this also in the previous tip, and I think you're familiar with this, Daniel. So we'll create a static page. I just want to find the pretty URL for this. I think it's just / Los Angeles, and it is. So I'll create a page / Los Angeles, a member search results page. I'm not going to get into all the details, but when you do this, you can then actually select a different sidebar. So you can create a sidebar just for the Los Angeles search results pages and just display your Los Angeles banner ads in that sidebar. A bit more cumbersome than probably using the tool that the Treehouse marketers or something else has created, but it will allow you to pin specific sidebars to specific search results pages. For example, for a Los Angeles search results page in this example. And then, of course, then you can have the respective banners that you need for that sidebar there. So just another thing you could do if you needed to. Good question there. All right, here we go from Nicola. Can this be done? A person can create a personal account, which would be required for community engagement, while the business page serves as the public-facing directory listing. Those are like kind of Facebook stuff here. How would I do that? I hope I'm explaining that right. Well, maybe with the multi-member manager account, you can do that and allow them to select if they're an individual or a company. So what I would recommend, actually, you could do that, actually, certainly. Let's go to the Brilliant Directories website. And it was just that same multi-member manager question that we just talked about. I'll share this link for the add-on. And what this allows you to do is it allows a main account manager to have different, let me hide your comment here, to have additional sub accounts. And you can limit them to only have 2, right? So they can have their personal and their business and what have you. But you can choose if the listing is a personal account or a business account, and a few other options there. So again, I don't think it might solve exactly what you're looking to do, but it might get you 90% there, Nicola. It does allow a person with a single login to have 2 different listings or 2 different accounts that they can toggle into the site with and toggle between them to engage on the site with. So hopefully that helps you a bit there. All right. And we got Bernade again. I just realized my site is actually live. Is there an under construction or coming soon landing page that I can add as a home page while I'm building? Yes, you can definitely do that. Let me show you where you can set your site to coming soon. If you go to general settings, Bernade, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not. And when you're in the general settings, you can set your website status to staging mode. Let's do that together, actually. And if we visit the site, we'll notice that we're seeing the home page as normal. That's because we're at /home. It's kind of like a secret that you, the website owner, will know to go to /home. But if we just go to the domain name, we have a very dry coming soon page. What I would recommend doing on this page is this, and now you can click on edit coming soon page. It's right here. There's a link here. It takes you to the web page builder. And what I would recommend doing is using ChatGPT and asking it, tell it what you're doing. Your site's coming soon. You want to target these keywords. These are the services or the people you're going to be targeting. We might actually, David, I think that would be a good tip of the week because we've done it several times ourselves very successfully, is basically you want to seed your homepage with good SEO content. So while you're building it in the background, it actually starts ranking for some of the keywords that you're going to eventually want to target anyways. That way you can get the ball rolling. Another tip here, since we're talking about connecting your domain name or staging modes, I would recommend getting your domain connected and submitted to Google as quickly as possible, especially if you're just in staging mode, because Google takes at least 3 to 6 months before they trust your domain name. Even if it's a one-page site with good SEO content on it, with just what your mission is and anything to give Google something to bite on, to chew on. That's going to help fast track your site's SEO once you actually do go live and you do your grand opening for your site. So if your site's under construction, nothing wrong with that. Edit your coming soon page, add some good SEO content in there, work with ChatGPT to create some good snippets. And of course, you get that form so people can pre-register on your site. So while you're building, you're collecting email addressing. You can do soft marketing. You don't have to do nothing. You can start planting seeds in social media, coming soon, or, early bird specials, founding member specials, whatever you want to call it, and get people excited about what's coming soon. So good luck, Bernade, with that. And that is how you can add your site to a staging mode. And with that, let me also say, you can continue working on the rest of your site. Just go to /home. And you can also then visit all your internal pages as well that you're working on. So just when people go to your main domain, I already switched it back, they would see the coming soon page. Okay, I think we got all the good questions here. I see some repeat questions. So yeah, I think that's a great place to stop there. What a fantastic webinar. David, thank you for putting these quick tips together, refreshing your live site, assigning members to any membership plan. They don't have to pay to join your paid membership plans, and how to add custom forms to pages. Great lab updates this week. Big shout out to the Brilliant Directories development team and also to the BD community for your suggestions. We will be doing an iPad giveaway this month in the Facebook group. We have not posted it yet, but we encourage you to go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. Just make sure you're joined in that group and you will start seeing the announcements. And for those of you who joined and asked questions from YouTube Live. Thank you so much. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks. It's been tons of fun, guys. Thank you so much for your questions. On behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, we love you guys so much. It's been a great webinar. Have a great day and a brilliant week. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Cheers, guys.